Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
How y'all homies doing?
Welcome.
Hello,
Welcome.
welcome to the TGS Showcase. You're all
Welcome to
sorry.
the
Welcome
CM1.
to the
CM1
CM1 TGS Showcase here in Botswana. We're so excited to show you what we've learned and done over this term, and we hope that you are as excited as us to hear about it.
Cool. We'll be getting started shortly. Just waiting for the last few people to.
Beatbox for them.
Can you beatbox?
No, I can't. Yeah, but maybe someone will at the showcase, so
Yes,
we'll get
'cause
started
we'll
here in a
have
minute.
musical intermission from our amazing DJ, Metla.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
not
All right.
all right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CM1 Showcase. I'm Yeli from Côte d'Ivoire and the USA,
I am Sipurazi from South Africa.
and we're happy to have you here and showcase our work over the term. So we're students of Think Global School, a high school where we travel to a new country every semester using a completely project-based learning system. And this is our first term back traveling after a long period of hiatus, and we're happy to be in beautiful Botswana, learning about the culture, economics, and politics here. And we've had a lot of lessons, a lot of experiences around these key themes. So does someone want to say something that we learned or an experience that we had with Botswana's culture?
We learned many songs and dances.
Yes, we did learn a lot of songs and dances. What about Botswanan agriculture and economics?
We got to learn about the human-wildlife conflicts.
Yes, we did have a lot of lessons on human life, wildlife conflict, and politics, Botswanan politics. What did we learn? What did we see?
We learned about the traditional chiefs of Botswana.
Yes, we learned a lot about the Bohosi, and we visited a few kotlas in the country. So, in ROP and We Explore, we got to experience wilderness on a whole nother level, being dropped in the middle of basically nowhere and having to survive for the night and build our own shelter and eat potatoes. It was great. And in We Explore, we helped researchers monitor the area for key animal populations by tracking animal tracks, which was super cool.
Throughout the course of this term, the CM1 students have learned a lot about Botswana and its culture, people, and so This has inspired us to write short stories about our experiences. So with that being said, first up we have Mila with her story, Naledi and Lesejo.
Hello everyone, I am Mila. I am from France and I will be presenting to you the story that I have written based on what I appreciate the most about the Botswana culture. There is no life without another, without the beetle and the bird, without the leaf or the cloud. We're all born with unique talents and passions to be a wonderful addition to the rest of creation. I feel like a ghost in a world of paper dolls. I am the ghost in my own machine. I am a ghost running through space and time, looking, always looking in the blackness for a sacred spark. And all this world becomes noise, a distraction from my task to find the person I was before I walked into the dark, she finished. The golden glow of the fire reflected on my sister Lesejo's perfectly round face. Her eyes found their way to mine, flashing with glossy sparks of yellow and orange as she looked at me with a pitifully encouraging smile. I glanced down at the flames. The fire came to light up the night, to warm the air that was more accustomed to the evening chill. Every Wednesday night, our family would gather around the fire and perform stories as a way to rid ourselves of the creative weight heaving on us for the duration of the past week. Made us feel a little lighter, to share, to vent, to give. And we had a certain theme to follow depending on the month we were in. So July was full of feelings and emotions. Such stories often taught important lessons of a society's culture, the land, and the ways in which members were expected to interact with each other and with their environment. My parents believed that oral storytelling would help us as young children develop life skills early. Being at the bonfire was a real-life storybook adventure, the kind that you wished you were living in. Very good, Lesejo. You have a true gift for writing, praised Mama, followed by another petty compliment from Tate, my sister. She had a said talent for storytelling. Some said she had a way with words. She had the most ridiculous level of talent that my parents had ever seen. She was our blessing in every sense of the word. It's what her name meant. She had the most time in the spotlight to rise and shine. She was perfect. She was perfectly annoying. If I could choose one word to describe Lesejo, untouchable. Once the excessive glorification of Lesejo ended, everybody's blank stares reached me. I felt comfortable in my cocoon, and I most definitely wasn't anticipating the moment that I would have to break free of those barriers and become an expectation to meet. They were looking through me. My head might as well have been transparent. My parents' eyes turned my stomach every bit as badly as seeing an ominous silhouette in a dark alley. These long looks were how they told me of their bitterness, how they hated me for not being as creatively indulged as my sister, how they hated me for not knowing how to express myself. Well, interrogated Mama. The empty silence overtook their space, and my only response were my resting eyes, unblinking and alert to seem harsh. They immediately understood that my text had not been written, that all those feelings were still piled up inside of me, and when their disappointment slowly reached the soft surface, when they realized that I would not be feeling that weightlessness for yet another week hit them. I'm sorry, I speak softly. I look across the fire and land on my sister's crooked smile. There was a look on her face that I wanted to knock out. There was sin in her grin and the shape of her mouth, and all I wanted was to see her in terrible pain. I was utterly humiliated So the next day, I fled to the fields, where I could be nothing but a peaceful passing soul with a familiar state of mind. The familiar state of mind of just being. The state of mind of being one with the environment, sun strengthened and covered in blankets of warm sand. Looking out, I was one with the trees. I was one with the wind blowing through me with a powerful passion, so free and chaotic, it reminded me of my inner thoughts. Traveling around like an excessive spinning wheel that I tried to elegantly dance my way through. But the systems crashed once the shadows approached, and my skies suddenly turned a deep gray, and I had to face the sirens chewing around me. They grabbed onto my clothes like thorns, and I tried not to be mad at them, for a thorn only protects its plant, like gallant soldiers. But they ripped my clothes and cut my skin. They grabbed once more, while I danced and danced and danced, and I looked down at the torn thugging at me and realized it was a slim, tender hand. It was Lesejo. Only then did I realize I had tears in my eyes that showed my ocean eventually trickling through the cracks in my face. Let go! Let go! I screamed. Stop it, Naledi. Come back home. We're worried about you, pronounced Lesejo. No, you're not. I'm the forgotten one. I am the rejected one. Come back home. I understand you, but now is not the time. It's getting late. I violently broke through from her snatch. How dare you come here in my space, where I am comfortable, where I am free, where I am safe from your overcrowding shadows, and dare say you understand me. You do not understand me. You're always in the right, so I can be placed in the wrong. You're always loved, so I can be hated. You are always the blessing, so I can be the disappointment. But you're wrong. Because I do understand you. I understand that you do not think that you're good enough. But you are. You doubt your capacities because you think differently than I do, but there's nothing wrong with that. Naledi, you dance through your storms and stay collected when the dark clouds overcome you. This is the only time I've ever heard you scream. Naledi, need I remind you what your name means? You're a star. You shine wherever it is you are. We're all born with unique talents and passions. To be a wonderful gift to the rest of creation, to become a wonderful addition to the whole. Find your own way to describe how you feel, and I believe in you. We all do. Today, I was meeting my sister for the first time. Just her. I was able to get a true feeling of who she was without feeling like I should have to form an opinion about her, but just letting her develop like an old photograph. I carefully processed the soft reassurance coming over me. She got up and left, and I watched her go. No longer a dim shadow, but a light silhouette floating away. An angel almost. So, my new friend, all I can say is that I'm glad that we met. I stayed in the fields a little longer to look around, to connect. We were once again sitting around the golden fire on a Wednesday night. I had been in my cocoon for years, surrounded by my walls. I needed their sanctuary, and I thanked them. The healing was done. For once, I was confident. I felt the stairs, and I started. When I am most awake, most present in the moment, every sense of nature converges into a single energetic joy. It is as if there's a feeling passing between each living thing, a bond that is tangible and blended, a melody beyond the range of ears but available for the heart. And so as each leaf moves in the wind, a part of me does also. It is the togetherness of what is separate, the glue of the universe. The world is quite astonishing when you claw your way out of the mire of dysfunction. when you first peek over the horizon and see nature without the haze of discontent, amazement comes. It is the same amazement of when the first seed grows into a majestic tree. And when you see those simple things, when you are in love with the small, life gets so much better. The larger things become almost overwhelming, the sense of love so much stronger. Nature is my gold, for it echoes with the golden light of soul and into eternity. I gave my all, hoping that it was enough, heart beating rapidly, waiting for the feedback I had dreamed up for so long, hoping that I had lived up to my name, hoping that I was enough. I knew I had Lisejo's comfort. I knew she was there. I am proud of you, declared Ntate. I thought you wouldn't like it. I thought you would be disappointed. I can love you and be disappointed. I can love you and be mad at you. I can love you and care for you, for that is what family does. Reminds Ntate. Thank you.
Wow, that was a beautiful story. I hope you all are in a competitive mood because next we have Victoria and her story, the story of Akanyang.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, lived a Kosi and his daughter Naledi. Naledi's name meant star, and she really was one. Many had wanted to marry her for her joyful personality and bright wit. She was her dad's biggest treasure. If her dad could have, he would have given his position to her. However, women were supposed to be married, not be the head of a kotla. So, the Kosi decided to hold a competition. Whoever could catch a Kori first and bring it to the Kosi would marry Naledi. Yet, the quest to catch a Kori, the heaviest flying animal on earth, didn't end up being the easiest task given to potential suitors. All 12 of them fled out of their beds before the sunrise. The first admirer, he gave up after a day. The second one, he got eaten by a lion. The third one found a Kori, but instead of giving it to the Kosi, he ate the bird that was only meant for royals and became mentally ill, and so on and so forth. Akanyang, the son of the Kosi's sister, was one of the last ones to continue. He had grown up in the wilderness and knew it like the back of his hand. He also understood the language of animals in the savannah. And although his mother had warned him not to use his special power of talking to animals, as it's a little unfair against others, then what do you think he did? Yes, exactly. He still decided to do it. So, after Akanyang had been walking for days with no sight of any Koris, he found a lion's trail. So he thought, no one's going to know if I ask the lion where he last saw the bird, right? He found the lion sleeping on a field along with his bride. The king of all the animals was taking a nap while the cubs were playing. Lion! Psst. Hey, lion! Akanyang whispered. Have you seen any Koris close by? The lion yawned. No. What about tracks of a Kori? No, I don't think so, man. Just leave me alone. Akanyang started getting impatient. Can you at least give me some advice? The lion chuckled. Remember, the Kori sees the eggs but does not see the trap. Without saying a word, Akanyang moved on, staring at the ground. The lion's advice really is meaningless. I don't have any time to set up the trap. I need to find a Kori now. And Akanyang walked for hours and hours and hours. Exactly. Near one of the shepherd trees, an elephant was having a conversation with a leopard. Akanyang took quiet steps towards the elephant and stayed behind her, listening to the conversation. I think this whole thing is impossible, the elephant said. Did you hear how 12 people have been sent to find a quarry so that they could marry the Kosi's daughter? I did, nodded the leopard. And how many of them have returned with a quarry? None of them. Right. Everyone has given up except for Akanyang. But he's a master tracker, the best of his kind. He's got quarries before, I heard, and he... Akanyang cleared his throat. Well, of course I have caught quarries before. I've caught so many. The leopard looked back. Who is that? That's Akanyang, yelled the elephant in excitement. Dumela, you speak our language? Asked the leopard. Yes, said Akanyang, and I'm here to get your help. Have either of you seen a quarry today? Oh yeah. He was right here. By this giraffe over there. You should see him from far away, said the leopard, and like that, whoosh, Akanyang disappeared. Elephant was furious. Leopard, he's not supposed to use your advice. It's unfair. He's cheating. Leopard blinked and stared, and blinked and stared. What? We weren't? No, you spotted cat. Well, I guess we should send a bird to tell the Kosi then. And they told the bird, who told the bird, who told another bird, and then that bird told the Kosi. The Kosi was mad. How dare my own blood deceive me? So when Akanyang returned with a quarry in his hand, and instead of everyone cheering him on and crowning him as the husband of Naledi and blah blah, he kind of knew something was up. Kosi's eyes were filled with disappointment. I heard you used your ability to talk with animals in the competition, and but Akanyang interrupted. No. I will not tolerate this. From now on, you shall receive Mabele Akomo. 4 strokes and you'll never be able to see your family again. And he received his punishment. After that, another competition was done, and Naledi was married off to someone who caught the quarry without the help of other animals. Thank you.
Aw, poor Akanyang, he tried so hard. Next we have Mitini with her story, what education means to her and her role model.
Good afternoon, I'm Metni from India. What education means to me and my role model. The distance from India showed me that this role model was right before my eyes, and the appreciation for him has grown immensely. Named Gunasekaran Darshanamurthy. He was born in a small village in India. People call him Guna. His family was really poor. Guna's father got paralyzed when Guna was 16. His mom was buying and selling grains to run the family. The financial status of the family was in a very bad condition. It was even hard to get food once a day. They lived in a small hut where water came inside the house during the rainy season. The struggle was real. All the responsibilities fell on Guna's head at the age of 16. He put himself in a situation where he's supposed to get his sisters married, provide medication for his father, and take care of the family. Therefore, he started to go at work in order to take care of the family, being the only breadwinner. So, the chapter of education was closed at the age of 16. His father passed away. It was a hard time for Guna, but he started to work as a salesman in a bar and slowly became an accountant of the same bar. He did all the work he could and never missed any opportunity to earn money. But poverty lasted forever and nothing changed. He slowly became the manager of the bar after all his hard work. Again, another challenge to be faced. He had 2 sisters. Both don't go for work. And as I mentioned, he is responsible to get them married and pay dowry. He was working day and night to earn money and was always focused on his work. Without getting any loan, he managed and got them married. But by spending his own money to pay dowry. His sisters ignored him after getting married and never cared about him. This innocent man was unable to accept the fact that his sisters used him and threw him away, which made him emotionally low about himself and made him question his existence. But this is nothing new to Guna. Once upon a time, when he went to his relative's place for a family get-together, they were planning for a trip, and he was sent back because he was poor and they didn't want to spend money on him. Life was hard. Now, the only source of love is his mom. After years, he wanted to go a step ahead in life. Therefore, he started his own business, with all the money he saved, believing that there will be a light at the end of a tunnel. Because of all his hard work, he got successful in this field. Now that he got everything in life, there comes a realization that he never did anything for himself or his happiness. But still, he never did anything about it. Later on, because of his mother, he got married to a lady named Usha. It was an arranged marriage. Both don't know each other. They never spoke to each other before getting married because Guna was sure that he shouldn't get distracted from his work. He was working hard and failed to care about his wife's existence or her feelings. She is such an innocent soul and emotional too. Usha pursued her higher education, living a city life. Also, she lived in such a big family filled with love. So, she might have had so many dreams, but she never had a chance to express them. But this lady changed Guna's personality, starting from dressing to treating people. She made him understand the value of family, love, and the importance of spending time with loved ones to an extent where Guna helped Usha's dad's side family without any hesitation because he was longing for love and affection which his sisters and their family did not give him. She is the backbone of Guna. Not only her, but a big family stands behind Guna and supports him emotionally. Later, when they had 3 babies, they brought colors into his life. They made him made him feel like he got all the love he wanted. Even though it was an arranged marriage, this family was a little world created with love. Life went smoothly, but the struggles never stopped. Now that he has kids, he wants to make sure he gives them a good education and the best lifestyle. He started to work even more hard because he didn't want his family to live a life he lived, and he always wanted to give them the best. He wants his kids to be shining in different fields, especially being a woman. Even though he never went to university, at least in my point of view, he has more knowledge than educated people. It's because of all the struggles he went through in life. He never forces his kids to do anything for the sake of society's point of view, and he has always let his kids behave or do things in life the way they want to and support them endlessly without thinking about the society's opinion. He wants them to become something beyond the circle. This hero is none other than my father. He is my role model because if he had decided to escape from all the pressures and responsibilities, he could have easily done that. He had opportunities to drink working in a bar, but he never did. He could have been a strict father considering society's opinion and what people will think about him if he lets his kids do stuff, living in a society where we get judged for everything. He could have not valued his wife's words. Here, I would like to mention that, in my opinion, this might not be something relatable to most of you because it's something common in my society where men takes all the major decisions for the family. But my father never did that and values his wife and her opinion. I am proud to say that my father is my inspiration. He's the one who taught me not to forget who I am and where I come from, no matter what, even after reaching heights in life. By sharing his struggles, he made me understand my purpose in life. He taught me how to be focused. And most of all, he gave me the freedom to understand and explore the world. If it wasn't him, I wouldn't be traveling the world right now. He He put all his trust in me, never cared about people's opinion, and allowed me to go for what I want. Now that I'm in a different place, I'm realizing the value of everything my father taught me. I'm able to understand the differences and similarities of my country and the country I currently live in. One day, we went to a storytelling workshop in Botswana. Me and my friends met a storyteller who stated, "Please do not wear short outfits because it might distract the audience." I was shocked, and the Indian auntie's flashbacks were running in my mind while she was still justifying how it distracts. And I realized that this is a huge problem. It's not something that's only happening in India. Another day, we went to meet the government officers of Botswana. I asked a question to the chief. How did the government of Botswana support youth and women to get into politics? The answer he gave was, it is hard for the youth to get in because there are many factors like financial status that makes it harder for them to get into politics. Looking back to the question I did ask this question knowing that this will be a problem and what are they doing to sort it out. But he gave back my question as an answer, which was quite interesting because it's the same in my country. But I love Botswana. I love the way how people living in Botswana are patriotic towards their country. And the way people greet each other is overwhelming. All these scenarios remind me of everything my father taught me with his life stories. Also, I met a person who has experienced similar struggles in life in terms of education, medication, and financial situation. He is the guide in the Okawanga Delta. It's a place in the Kalahari Desert where I went camping. He is such a sweet person, just like my father. I had conversations with him about his life and the community he lives in. He grew up in a tribal community, got an education the hard way, and struggled a lot to earn money and to take care of his family. One main thing that I found similar to my father is when he mentioned the way he values his wives and respects. He shared about the value of education and how education matters for his community. There were people who questioned my father. Are you sure you want to spend this much money on your kid's education? If you put that money in the bank, you'll get credit, which will be useful in the future to pay dowry. But my father, he had a clear vision. He always states that it's important for him to give his kids the best quality education, not just an education that makes them rich, but an education where they get good exposure to understand the world, gain knowledge, learn life skills, support people around us, and most importantly, as I mentioned, he wants them to become something beyond the circle we live in, because he knows the hardships of not being educated and learning things the hard way. Thank you.
Let's give another round of applause for Mentini. That was an amazing story. I know we all enjoyed listening to that. And before we go for a brief intermission, we'd like to hear Module 2 members with a beautiful song that they've prepared for us.
Hey, you guys are out of the frame. You need to get more. Do you want to maybe stand? Yeah, I'll go.
Wait, can you just take a picture?
Yes, it's going.
This is fine. More. This come here. This is good here.
It's fine.
Modimo alite
Yeah, that was amazing. Good job, humans. Really enjoyed that. All right, so now I hope you guys are ready for a brief 5-minute intermission. Short little break. Get some time to stretch out your legs, go to the bathroom. There's some snacks over there. And then we'll all come back here to hear a couple more stories. guys enjoyed the snacks? Snack squad over there did a great job planning that for us, and Michelle. And now I hope you are ready to hear the next round of stories. Starting off with a duo. These two created an amazing story, so please have a nice round of applause for Effie and Nilla.
Hi, my name's Effie and I'm from Finland, and this is Nilla from India, and together we wrote a story that was inspired by our time here in Botswana, but also our own personal experiences.
So it's possible to argue that in human nature we long for a sense of community, a sense of family or belonging, if you will. But for many of us in the modern world, we yearn for new environments and new surroundings, and when we move, we learn the hardships of moving to a new place. A place where nobody looks like you, a place where nobody sounds like you, and a place where your friends are thousands of miles away. So the tale we're going to tell today tells us about such an occasion.
It was once said there was a young sheepdog who was excited for a new adventure. I love my life here in Wales, he said, but I think I'm getting bored of it. The sky is always cloudy and it's always raining. I want to go to a place where the skies are blue and the weather is fair. I wonder if there's a place like that.
To his surprise, he would be put on a boat to a new place, a place called Botswana Land. And while the seas were rough and the days were long and restless, he often spent his night dreaming about the new possibilities of this land, a place where new smells covered the lands and the plains, a place where animals came in all different shapes and sizes and forms, and most importantly, a place where he would make lots of new friends.
When he finally got to Botswanaland, he was ecstatic to begin herding sheep. Just like he imagined, the sky was a perfect blue and the weather was fair. He rushed off the boat and straight into the wilderness, looking for all the animals that lived there.
"Hello?
He cried into the day.
Is anyone there?" Silence echoed through the plains. Not even the birds or the trees responded to him. "Hello?" he called out.
"Who goes there?" a voice finally growled back.
The sheepdog flipped around, but there was no voice, no sound that he could feel.
"Look closely. I'm right here."
Through the tall slivers of yellow grass, he could see two eyes glaring back at him, looking at his every move. "I'm new here," he said, trying to remain calm. "I just got off the boat, and I'm excited to meet everyone."
"You go off the boat? No wonder. You don't look like you're from here," the lion snarled, as other animals slowly began emerging from the bushes.
"Who is he?
Where's he from?"
Oh, could he be one of them?
"One of who?"
One of the wild dogs, of course.
"Oh, how they're so
They're
ferocious.
such good hunters.
And good friends."
Truly one of the biggest predators on the savannah.
But he doesn't have the dark spots, so he can't be one of them," a bird tweeted from the branches.
But maybe they come without dark spots." Excited, the dog, confused, didn't know what to do, just said,
"You know what? I am a wild dog. Yeah, sure," he said without thinking before turning around and rushing back to the sheep pen. And after hearing about the wild dogs, he was like, "Oh, I'd love to be one of them. They're dogs like me. They have paws and big ears like me. They have fur and sharp eyes like me. Out of all the animals in the savannah, they will accept me," he thought to himself.
Excited, he rushed to find a pile of leftover ash and rolled in it, covering his fur with splotches of black and gray. And excitedly, he rushed to a pan of water.
He looked at himself and was like, "Wow, I look like a wild dog. They'll accept me." Slowly, he made his way back to the group of animals, and as he approached, they took a step back, wary of his presence.
It's a wild
"A
dog.
wild dog?"
The animals were all excited, and now the shepherd dog, gaining that bit of confidence, he started strutting around the savannah.
He was happy with the once aggressive animals now taking a step back and almost being friendly to him.
But this glee was pretty short-lived, as a passing pack of wild dogs heard the commotion and decided to come and investigate.
"Animals of the savannah, what is this wild dog we hear of?"
"Why, him, of course," a small mouse said, and gestured towards the wild dog. Gestured towards the sheepdog.
"Him?" they said, looking him up and down once, and they started laughing at him.
He could never be a wild dog. He couldn't even hear us coming.
"His fur is so strange,
His eyes are so wide.
and his voice is so funny," they laughed at him.
The animals all began cackling, and one wild dog jeered. "He's so small, I could eat him up in just one bite," he said.
You could roll in as much soot as you wanted, and you could bark at our howls, but you will never, ever be one of us, the leader of the wild dog said.
The sheepdog, now backing away slowly, heard another jeer from the crowd. "Be gone, and I never, ever want to see you in these plains again."
Disheartened, the sheepdog sulked away into the bushes, feeling extremely sorry for himself, head bent to the ground, when he stumbled upon a big grey stump. Looking up startled, he saw a big head with small eyes peering down at him. He took a few steps back, nervous, when the voice cried out,
"Oh, please don't go. You look lonely and like you're in need of some company."
"Oh, you won't want me for company," the sheepdog said. "I'm just a lowly dog from Wales. You're a big, magnificent elephant with tusks that would command respect from all of the animals near and far."
"Why do you think so low of yourself?" the elephant asked.
"Well, you see, I'm not a good hunter, nor am I very ferocious. All the other animals just make fun of me. You wouldn't want that."
The elephant took a moment to respond, unsure about what to say. The sheepdog, once eager for an answer, sat down. "Well, young dog, it is true that there are parts of ourselves we cannot change."
"Yeah, I know. I can never be a wild dog."
The elephant laughed in response and replied, "Well, if you would like to be a wild dog, I, for one, will not stop you."
The dog was startled by this response. "What do you mean exactly?"
"Well, what I think is more important is to find out who you would like to be and the kind of dog you want to be inside," the elephant
"Who I
responded.
want to be?"
"Yes, who you want to be."
"Well, the thing is, I just want to be accepted by all the animals around here."
"Well, that is not the question, is it? I'm asking you, who would you like to be, young dog?"
The dog thought for a while and then said, "I just want to be happy here."
So the elephant thought to himself, "Then what makes you the happiest, young dog?"
Thinking back, he found the most unexpected answer. "I'm happiest when I'm herding sheep."
So I think it's time you start doing some of that then.
"How can I though, since all the animals said they'd gobble me up in just one bite? How could I ever protect a sheep when I can barely protect myself?"
That's true. But here, think about it this way. Look around you. It's a new environment. You don't know the land like I do. You don't know the trees like I do. You don't know the animals and the birds like I do. But that's okay. You can learn that.
"What do you mean?"
Let me think for a second. The termite hills always point north, and the silver-leaf talamania signifies drinking water below, and female hyenas walk with their paws slightly spread.
"Huh?"
We can use the constellations to tell us where we are, and we can use the sun to tell us the time of day. It is these kind of skills I use here to survive. So tell me, young sheepdog, how do you herd sheep?
"Well, my job is to stop the sheep from falling off cliffs and to find shelter when storms hit the glens."
But how do you do that? The sheep are all bigger and heavier than you.
"Well, I stay at the back of the pack, and I use my agility to maneuver between them so I don't get trampled. And sometimes I snap at their heels a bit to make them move where I want them to."
So, it seems like your small stature actually helps do what you love. So maybe, just maybe, it's not so bad after all.
The elephant's words gave the dog some comfort, and knowing that he had a friend here, he and the elephant worked together and successfully herded both sheep and goats in this new land. Using the new skills he formed, he used the animal tracks to find out where the predators were, and used his keen sense of smell to always find the way back home. What he learned when he was finally happy was that he did not need the validation from the other animals to realize he is a strong and ferocious dog on his own right.
The story we just told you tells us that sometimes when we go into new environments, we have to adapt. But that doesn't mean you should take away what's most authentic and true to yourself. So while the sheepdog had to learn new things when he came here to Botswana, in the end, he stayed true to his authentic self and learned to love himself. Thank you.
I, for one, am very, very proud of that little sheepdog. Good for him. So next story comes from Nuha.
Hello everyone, my name is Nuha and I'm from Morocco. And today I'm gonna present a story. Have you ever complained too much about the things you didn't have? And forgot about everything else? Like having bad Wi-Fi? Or just not wanting to wake up for school because you just want to sleep? Well, I'm sure you did. And I know someone that is just like you. Paola is a young 15 years old girl that lives with her two brothers, Sicanio and Joanco, and her little sister, Paola. Paulita. In a small village called Tampaka in Maun, a little city in Botswana. She always had one dream, which is to go to this place that we call school. But unfortunately, this seemed impossible for her, because in her village, girls weren't allowed to leave the house, even if it's for school. But being really stubborn, she never gave up on her dream. One day Paola woke up, and being a typical Botswana girl, she helped her mom milk the cows and bake the bread while her siblings were hunting. They were hunting because this is part of their family. This is part of their background. And this was approved by her father, Musao. Paola was thinking every day about going to school and learning about new things that she can apply in her life. So she decided to talk to her family about it. She went to her dad and said, "I really want to go to school just like my brothers." The father replied, "Paola, we already talked about this. You cannot do something. This is not part of our family." Paola, "This is so unfair. I'm just asking for my rights, and just because I'm a girl, they're not valid." Musao got really mad that he ended up slapping his daughter. She started crying loudly, then ran away to the woods. Regarding the fact that she wasn't allowed to cross the woods because there were wild animals there. She got lost. Then she heard a bizarre sound. Quack, quack. Something was sniffing her. It was an elephant. Elephant. "What are you doing here, human?" "In an elephant territory." The elephant had a weird nostalgic feeling because Paola's smell was really familiar to him. And since Tampaka is a really small village, he asked her about her family. Paola, sweating, really frightened. "I am the daughter of Musao's tribute. And I'm really sorry, Mr. Elephant, for bothering your territory. I am just lost, and I'm really hungry, and I'm looking for some food. But if you want me to leave, I can do it right now." Paola was starving. She asked the elephant for any kind of food. The elephant didn't really like human because of the bad reputation they had. They were hunting wild animals for their own purposes. And also because of the bad experience he had with these. But the thing is, Mr. Elephant has a really good memory. He remembered this one day. Musao, Paola's father, helped him to escape from a really well-known hunter. So he basically saved his life. Which made him feel really sorry about Paola. And willing to help her, he did. They became friends and spent a couple of days together. In the meantime, he taught her how to feed from camel thorn to get seed pods. He taught her how to drink water from the Okavango Delta. He He even teach her how to hunt and presented her to all of his friends and showed her how to protect herself from wild predators by showing her how every track looks like. He included zebras, hyenas, lions, buffaloes. He even showed her how to compare between their droppings and leftovers. Paola learned a lot of incredible things about the wildlife and the survival methods. But at some point, she needed to continue her journey and realize her dream by going to school, the place of her dreams. She explained this to the elephant, which made him really sad. So he decided to teach her one more thing.
If you get lost one day, or you don't know your way back home, or you don't know how to feed yourself, consider looking at my family's droppings and leftovers, and you'll be sure to find your way back home.
The elephant showed Paola the way to the town and where she could find the place of her dreams. She said realized once she woke up is that she wasn't grateful enough for getting to live the life she was living. Because sometimes knowledge does not come from school only. We can learn new things from our daily life. For example, Paola was having biology classes by milking the cows with her mom and making bread. And decortiquing the leftovers of the animals in her family's farm. She was having a chemistry class while transforming milk to butter using heat. Or even while using trees, branches to produce perfume. A physics class in building the place they were sleeping in. Math and probability. Math and probability, helping the animal's reproduction to produce the family's need, and even languages. Speaking and learning a new way to speak to the animals and communicate with them. Paola understood that her family was living like this for whole generations, and that was part of her personality. So she decided to let her parents know about her concerns and about her dream eventually. They understood and decided to find the right solution to make her feel equally loved compared to her male siblings. Paola finally went to school and she became the first female politician in the history of Botswana, who created a law for all children to have the right for education, including women, until the age of 18. That was Rise and Shine. Thank you.
Rise and shine, period. I'm so happy for Paola, and I'm happy for her accomplishments, but now get ready for the story of the two people coming from Sipokazi.
What makes us who we are? What connects us to a greater whole? What ideas mold the world around us? These are all questions I've been asking myself throughout my experiences here in Botswana. And through talking to all the different people here at TGS, our guest speakers, and random people I've had the opportunity to talk to, I've realized that the answer to all these questions is cultural identity. And that although we all have a cultural identity, that cultural identity doesn't define us. And that has inspired me into writing my short story that talks about how the cultural identity of a place affects the developmental growth in that place. With that being said, because storytelling is such a big part of the culture here in Botswana, we're going to be starting the story the Tswana way. Can you guys help me with this? Alrighty. So I'm going to start by saying Gatwe irili. Then we're going to clap. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Gatwe irili. In a land far away, where the Kalahari sands stretch far and wide and the sun meets the land, lived the Lefatsi people. The Lefatsi people were people of great culture and tradition. They lived the same way as they've lived for many years, cultivating the land and keeping livestock. It was a simple way of life, but they liked it. And they were able to have harmony between each other and the wildlife for many years through a pact they made with Mother Nature. This pact entailed that the chief of the Lefatsi people and Mother Nature would help each other. Mother Nature would provide rains, livestock, and riches beyond the Lefatsi people in imagination in return for the Queen of Lefatsi people and her people to take care of Mother Earth and her children, the wildlife. Now this pact was kept for many years until the arrival of the Oseleli people. Now, the Oseleli people were very different from the Lefatsi people. They came from an even further land, beyond the seas. And they were an ever-evolving people. They liked change. Their cultures and tradition were as fluid as the seas they sailed in to get into that kingdom. So, for many days, they trekked, and just as they thought they were going to give up, from the top of a sand dune, they caught the glimmer of the golden huts of the Lefatsi kingdom. Now, this motivated them. They had, all of a sudden, a change in energy and marched down swiftly down to the kingdom and stopped at the gates, where they were met by the gazes of the Lefatsi people. There was a moment of awkward staring until the chief of the Lefatsi people came forward. She examined the dehydrated people that stood in front of her. Then, with potent regal words, she invited them into her kingdom. And that was the start of a friendship between the two people. The Lefatzes and the Oselelis lived in peace, sharing ideas, but the Oselelis liked the idea of change. And this didn't work well with the Lefatzes keeping to one tradition, one way of life. So it caused some conflict. The Oseleli people continued talking of different languages, different cultures, different religions. And this tore a wedge in between the two people, from once being a peaceful environment to now a hostile environment. So Malesedi decided to take land far away from the kingdom and give it to the Oseleli people, so that her people wouldn't get diluted by the thoughts of the Oseleli. Now, the Lefatzes continued their traditional way of life. And the Oseleli built an empire that they dreamed of. They sustained the needs of the people that lived in their kingdom, but that wasn't enough for them. They wanted more. So, they started mining and improving their economy, and they found out that they liked hunting for fun. So, they would mine and hunt. As their kingdom grew, it took up lots of space, displacing many animals that lived in that area. So they were forced to go to faraway territories where they had no access to water or food. This made Mother Nature angry, and so she decided to stop the seasonal rains to remind the people of their responsibility to her and her animals. But it didn't work. It just continued. The animals felt like they had no choice but to go into the kingdoms in search of food and water. And when this happened, they would eat all the crops and kill all the livestock, and sometimes even kill the people. So the Oseleli people decided to change and built big walls. These walls protected them and their food from the animals. But the Lefatsi people, walls weren't traditionally used in this community. So they were left to deal with the issues that the animals brought in. This made Mother Nature angry. So she just couldn't take it anymore. She was defaced by the mining, her face ruined by the overcultivation. So she decided she is going to stop the rains completely. The temperature started to rise. The earth trembled with her rage, and buildings fell down. The people still hadn't realized. At least the Oseleli people hadn't realized. But the Lefates, the chief of the Lefates, quickly realized what was going on, but it was too late. So she had tried ritual after ritual after ritual, but nothing was working. So as the food finished and the water finished, one by one, the Lefate and the Oseleli people perished. You can still hear their cries for forgiveness in the winds as the desert wind blows. Thank you.
Thank you for that amazing story. Seems come back here with me. You're not done. All right, so before we move on, let me take my mask off. And I'd like to extend a huge thanks to everyone here for coming out, showing through, and listening to our stories. Give yourself a round of applause.
First off, we'd like to thank Sam and Ibrahim for organizing such an amazing module. Our students really enjoyed it.
I'd like to give a huge thanks to Bonti for you. So if you could please come up. Yeah. So the reason that we are here today telling these stories is because of the wonderful knowledge that you've bestowed upon us, which allowed us to experience this, connecting us with everything and making this experience unforgettable. So here is our gift as a whole. Beautiful picture. Here's. Thank you so much.
We would also like to take a moment to thank Katleho and Winnie for helping us throughout our experiences here, and as students really appreciate the support you've given us, and here's a little thank you.
Next, thanks everybody at Tamalakani Lodge. We are so grateful for you taking care of us, feeding us, helping us stay here in Botswana. So we have something for you as well. There are things coming for everybody, but we have this picture if someone would like to come take it. Thank you so much. And COVID tests, that was a thing that we had to do very consistently. So we'd like to thank Maduo and Anthony for giving them to us because we know that was a thing. So we have something for you if you'd like to come up. Thank you so much.
There you go.
And I know that Michelle would like to come up and give a special thanks.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Hi. I think you all know me. I'm Michelle. I'm the logistical coordinator here at CM1. Someone who you have not all met, but who played a huge part in us being in Botswana, not just this time, but in general, is Miss Tammy McAllister. She does a lot of the behind-scene work for us. So while you may not physically know her, she is the reason we are all here. And she has helped me personally immensely with everything. So I just want to say huge shout out. Thank you, Tammy.
Before we move on to the booths, we have one performance from Module 3 who will be singing for us.
Yeah.
What are you singing first?
Not gonna song. We're seeing an after. Let's start to after.
You're doing what? Yeah.
Which one are we doing?
Math soft homies.
Do we just do Botswana?
Let's do the call for all the call ones.
Should we just do all of them?
Are you doing the call? Okay, sure. All three.
So what are you
Yeah,
gonna
we
do?
start with Nagana.
We start with the na.
Y'all ready?
I have it.
I'm gonna go whatever. I'm gonna do whatever happens.
Oh, no.
Huh?
Okay, whatever. Kisa, take your mask.
All right. Yele marabele. Yele marabele.
Toroke musimane.
Marabele.
Na kanasa toro.
Marabele we.
Toroke musimane.
Oh yelele.
Yelele, yelele. Toroke musimane.
Oh yelele.
Yelele, yelele. Toroke musimane.
Yele marabele.
Na kanasa
Yele
toro.
marabele we.
Toroke musimane.
Yele marabele.
Na kanasa
Yele marabele we.
Toroke musimane.
Oh yelele.
Yelele, yelele. Toroke musimane.
Oh yelele.
Yelele, yelele. Toroke musimane.
Beautiful Africa.
Africa, we shall never forget. Beautiful Africa.
Beautiful Botswana.
Botswana.
Beautiful Botswana.
Botswana, we shall never forget. Beautiful Botswana.
Beautiful our guest.
Our guest.
Beautiful our guest.
Our guest, we shall never forget. Beautiful our guest.
Oh. All right, so that ended the performance part of this beautiful showcase. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed and you learned a lot about what we've learned. So, as a part of the CGS experience, we all do amazing personal projects, mastery projects, service learning projects, and we have set up booths for everybody to go through around here. And we have videos of our performances and over there, and the snack bar, of course. So, after a 15-minute intermission, you can go around the booths to learn more about our projects or look at everybody's performances on those screens over there. Thank you so much.
We don't edit. We're not gonna do it. So we can try it on the phone, but I don't think I can get into the Teams meeting. Yeah,
Use the camera, Riley. I'll be taking.
Okay, you can just leave it back there. Yep. Thank you. I'm thinking about it, but it won't let me get into this one. So.